Kiwiears is back at it again, releasing an onslaught of IEMs. Today we have the Aether, their single planar IEM. Let's see if they manage to shake up the planar market with this latest offering. Starting with an unboxing, Kiwiears' latest release signals a departure from their older designs as they experiment with new ways to package their products. I see this as a positive change. While the past packaging was decent, it was very predictable. It was always a earphones, below there was a case, something like that. Now Kiwiears inject more flair into their packaging, making the unboxing experience a bit more premium. For the Aether, we start with a sleeve featuring a render of the IEM against a background motif inspired by the spikes in the Kiwiears logo. Kiwiears is particularly proud that the Aether features a rather large planar design. Removing the sleeve reveals a silver brush finish box with the Kiwiears logo embossed on it, a nice premium touch. Inside, they level up the experience. Gone are the days where the earphones simply sat in foam next to a case. Now you get a dedicated tray to hold the earphones, along with separate boxes for accessories. One cool detail is that for one of the boxes, it has perforator holes to help you easily pull it out. Inside the box, you'll find the carrying case, which contains a 2-pin to 3.5mm cable. And in the last box, you will get 3 sets of ear tips, which is quite a general inclusion from Kiwiears. They are decent, but I still recommend swapping them out for better aftermarket options. So let's talk about build quality. The build quality is what you'd expect from Kiwiears, not too different from previous releases. However, this time round, the faceplate is more visually interesting, featuring a monochromatic stripes with some glittery accents. The overall build is okay. It won't survive me sitting on it, but the overall build quality is okay. It won't really survive me sitting on it, but it's very lightweight. The chassis features a 2-pin termination for easy cable swaps. Inside there is a rather large 15.3 planar driver, which if well tuned can be great. However, using such a large driver comes with some drawbacks, such as slightly slower transients, which we will talk about more in the sound section. The included cable is the rather standard Kiwiears offering. It's functional, but nothing truly extraordinary. It's terminated to a 3.5mm plug, so it's perfect for people who are new to the game and want to use them with your things such as laptops or whatnot. Sound. If you have experienced a planar IEM before, you'll recognize its distinct tonal characteristics. Planar tend to have a more homogeneous sound signature compared to dynamic drivers or balanced armatures. The Aether has a V-shaped tuning with a focus on sub-bass like most planars, with a slight upper mids boost to give vocals more body. Recent advancements in planar tuning have resolved the metallic upper mid-range issue that plagued earlier models, which is a welcome addition. Now the big question is, with the Aether, it has a 15.3mm planar driver, a bit larger than those used in its more expensive competition. But does bigger really mean better? So what I hear is that the Aether transients is actually pretty quick, but just not as quick as those seen in the 7Hz Timeless 2 or the Simgot ET142. There's knock and knock against the Aether. It still performs well, plus it is priced quite a bit more affordably than those competition. For this review, I will be driving the Aether with my Lotto Paul Go Touch 2, which is admittingly really overkill for this. Talking about bass, the Aether's bass is a typical planar bass where it is more sub-bass focused with a linear transition into mid-bass. This tuning avoids bloat, making the overall signature very clean. As mentioned earlier, the transients isn't as fast as that of the Timeless 2 or the Simgot ET142, but they are still quick enough to avoid any sluggishness. Some listeners may even prefer this as it gives bass dynamics a bit more of a natural feel. And resolution here in the bass section is really rather solid. I never really felt like I was missing too much in the music. Mid-range. The mid-range has a sweetness to the vocals that many will enjoy. Clarity is good and it blends well with the bass foundation. Resolution here is strong. I enjoy picking out the finer nuances in vocals. However, the Aether needs adequate power. If underpowered, it can sound a bit thin here. So I recommend at least using a rather capable dongle deck with a bit more output to really allow you to enjoy this. Instruments in the mid-range sound clear, and if the mix highlights certain elements, the Aether will present them quite well. For instruments that are mix to blend in, you might need to listen a bit more attentively, but the details are there. Treble. The Aether delivers an airy treble with good extension, creating a nice sense of space. Unlike the older planar models, there used to be some metallic timbre. This has been all solved. Resolution in the treble section is actually very decent. It remains largely smooth, complementing the rest of the frequency range without any harshness. Soundstage. Firstly, let's talk about some width and height. Both of these two criterions are actually very solid, creating an experience similar to a jazz hall. Next up, when it comes to depth and positioning, the Aether's clean character helps with spatial positioning, contributing to a well-layered soundstage. While not as fast as its competition, it will still deliver good depth and instrument placement. Next, for some comparisons. So firstly, versus the 7Hz Timeless 2. Now the Timeless 2 is the most versatile planar IEM, thanks to its multiple nozzle options that allow it to emulate the Ledger SL20. Unfortunately, the Aether lacks this versatility as you don't really get to change nozzles. When it comes to resolution, the Timeless 2 edges out the Aether, but the Aether actually is still rather competitive with the Timeless 2, it's just not as good. But in terms of transients, the Timeless 2 is faster, giving music a more energetic feel. The Aether, while not as nimble, is still rather respectable. If you want pure performance, go with the Timeless 2, it is just overall better. However, if you are on a budget and want a solid planar IEM, the Aether is better value. Next up, versus the Simgot ET142. Now, the ET142 has more elevated upper mids, making it the most resolving IEM of this generation of planar releases. For listeners sensitive to upper mids or treble, the Aether is the actually safer pick. But if you really crave resolution, then the ET142 is the top choice. Additionally, the ET142 build is quite a bit superior compared to the Aether. It has a metal chassis that is very sturdy feeling. It feels like if I drop it, I can step on it, it'll still be kind of okay. But the Aether's build quality isn't as solid, but hey, in terms of sound, if you want resolution, go with the ET142. If you're looking for something that is very decent and has really rather good value, the Aether. Next up, let's talk about some ratings. So firstly, bass. Bass is linear with good sub-bass. It gets a 7.5 out of 10. Mid-range, it has this very nice sweet character and it really lends to vocal sounding beautiful. It gets a solid 8 out of 10. Treble on the whole, it's smooth with good extension. It gets a 7.5. Resolution on the whole is pretty good. It gets a 7 out of 10. Soundstage, for the price, you can't really complain too much. It does a very good job, very serviceable. It's big enough. It gets a 7 out of 10. And lastly, the enjoyment factor. Taking all things considered, I really enjoyed the Aether. While its transients isn't the quickest in the planar wars, they are more than sufficient. It is actually a great budget-friendlier option, so I give it an A-. And finally, in conclusion, don't overlook the Aether. While it doesn't claim the top spot in the planar wars, it wins in value, being the most affordable model to deliver a solid planar experience. If you want to experience planar sound without breaking the bank, the Aether is a very strong contender. With that said, thank you so much for watching the Superchunk Super Audio Show. It's great to be back. If you like the content so far, please press the like and subscribe button right here down below. It'll help me out immensely. I will be doing a mega planar war update comparing all the amazing planar IEMs that recently came out, and we'll see who is the top pick for that. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching the Superchunk Super Audio Show. I hope to see you guys soon.